Hello again, MESBG fanatics. I'm here for the first part of what I expect to be two parts on covering the Isengard troops. So again, once more, I am covering just the Uruk-hai parts. No Dunlin. So first up we have the Uruk-hai scout, and he is fight 4, strength 4, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 3. He comes with armor and sword and can be upgraded with a banner, Uruk-hai bow, or shield. So very similar to what the Uruk-hai scout captain was, just -1 to his defense and fight value and strength. No surprise there, really. Moving on, we have the Uruk-hai warrior, who, in my opinion, is basically the backbone for an Isengard army, unless you're running one of the 2 scout legions. Very multi-functional, pretty much the perfect troop type, like every faction's troop type that has a major one, like Minas Tirith or Rohan, or Orcs even. So the Uruk-hai warrior is fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 3, and he comes with heavy armor and sword, which is why it's defense 5 over the scout. So he can come with a banner, crossbow, pike, or shield. And those crossbows are really good, so you like to see a lot of those. And the ability to go too deep in a pike block is really good for these guys because you've got a lot of strength 4, fight 4 there. So very versatile unit. Kind of expensive, closer to bordering on the elite point cost, but they are definitely elite when you compare them to the base troops. So yes, definitely not something to mess around with. I have been actually running these guys, and they are very sturdy when you put them at defense 6 with a shield, and they do a lot of damage because that strength 4 does not care about defense 6. So moving on, we have the Isengard troll, and while I know I said I wasn't going to talk about anything that wasn't Uruk-hai, I feel like the troll is one to go ahead and just cover here. It does carry the Isengard keyword, so I wanted to go ahead and cover that because the guys from Dunland actually don't have the Isengard keyword, they have Dunlending keyword. So the Isengard troll is going to fall under the army bonus for this army too. So it is fight 7, strength 7, defense 8. He's got a 5-up shoot value because he has throw stones. 3 attack, 3 wound, courage 4. War gear includes heavy armor, sword, and shield. So pretty cool that he's got a shield, because that means that if he is, for whatever reason, trapped or in a really bad situation, you can shield with him and have 6 attacks to potentially win a fight. So he can swap his sword for a spear for free, and he can swap the shield for a war drum for 25 points, and that affects all keyword Isengard. So that's another one that you usually see is if people don't take Isengard drummers, and they will swap out and take the Isengard troll and remove the shield and go the drum so they can get that extra 3 inches of movement when you sound the drum. Again, I think this is a very smart play. The only downside here is you're bringing your defense 8 troll down to defense 7. So he also has terror and, like I already mentioned, throw stones, which is a 12-inch range at strength 8. So moving on, we have 2 more profiles. We have the Uruk-hai berserker. Fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 1 wound, courage 7. And he includes the berserker blade. So the berserker blade is a hand and a half sword. If a berserker wins a duel roll while fighting with his berserker blade as a 2-handed weapon, he may either assign strikes as normal or do 1 strength 4 hit at +1 to wound on every model engaged in the fight or supporting the berserker. And in base contact. So this is a rule that's kind of it's a good one, but it's a bad one. You don't see a lot of people go with the secondary option of doing the 1 hit at strength 4 with the +1 to wound. You usually just see people going with 2-handed with some pike supports and then just dealing damage, because striking your own guys is, let's be honest, not a good idea. Your pikes are going to be defense 5, which means on strength 4 they're wounding on 5s, and then the +1 to wound makes it 4s. So, I mean, I'm talking purely Isengard here. If you're running something where you're allying in, say, orcs, then it's going to be potentially worse. But speaking of the Uruks, I've been playing with some Isengard lately, and I have never done it. I have gone 2-handed, but just to get the +1 to wound against my enemy. So the next he has a couple other special rules. The Berserker Blade is his war gear, so that it has that special rule for the war gear. But he has two special rules. His first one is Oblivious to Pain, and we all kind of know what that is. And that's every time an Uruk-hai Berserker suffers a wound, roll a d6. On the roll of a 6, the wound is ignored, exactly as if a point of fate had been spent. This is not cumulative with other special rules that confer the same effect. Which means you can't go ahead and put Channel Fury up and make it, 5, which is too bad. And then the other special rule he has is Impervious to Bowfire, which is that their defense counts as 6 when enemy models make shooting attacks against them. So under the old rules, the Berserker was more powerful. He was defense 6, but they've taken him down to defense 5. I can kind of understand why, but keeping that Impervious to Bowfire special rule in really makes him more hardy and more likely to survive against enemy bowfire while you're maneuvering and positioning to get into combat. So I do like that. Alright, and the last thing we have for typical troops is Feral Uruk-hai, and they are Fight 4, Strength 4, Defense 4, 2 attack, 1 wound, Courage 5. They come with 2 swords. So they have the Oblivious to Pain special rule as well as the Berserker. And that is, again, the one where if they take a wound, roll a d6. On a 6, you ignore the wound. So, unfortunately, Feral Uruk-hai actually got pointed up in this edition. They used to be worth taking more of in the old edition when they were a little bit cheaper. They were seen as cheaper Uruk-hai Berserkers. I believe they were actually Defense 5 in the old edition. And so folks usually took them as a way to save a few points instead of taking a full-fledged, Berserker, which is which at the time was several points more expensive. But now it's only a 2-point difference. So most folks usually just go ahead and take the Uruk-hai Berserker because that Courage 7 is really good to have too. And it gives you more Defense 6, quote-unquote, guys on your front line against bowfire. So nothing to laugh at there. And that is the 5 profiles for the troop types. We have 2 siege weapons to cover, but we will cover those in a separate video because both of them have a full page of rules to themselves. And so I want to take the time to go through them and get them right. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I hope you enjoy talking about Isengard so far. I look forward to finishing this up and going on to the next army review I have planned. But until next time, y'all have fun.